Chionophobia, an Inanimate Insanity fanfiction by Loomy, also known as Number One Taco Stan. Mike wakes to a dull streak of sunlight streaming into her eyes and dimly illuminating her room. She turns over, blinking the sleep out of her eyes, and sees Taco still dead to the world beside her. It was only recently that she began waking up before Taco, rather than waking up to find her staring blankly at the ceiling, and what a relief it is. She knows Taco needs the sleep. Mike creeps her way out of bed, careful not to pull too much of the blanket off Taco's sleeping form, and heads to the window. Nothing wakes her up better than a breath of crisp, technically still morning air. As she peels back the curtains, though, she's distracted by the untouched layer of pure white snow gleaming back at her. Even if she can't actually go out in the snow, being an electronic, she's always appreciated it for how beautiful it is, especially when it's fresh. Speaking of beautiful things, Mike turns back around to Taco, still blissfully unaware in their bed. She bites her lip as she tiptoes closer, debating whether or not to wake her up. On one hand, Taco really doesn't sleep as much as she should, even if she refuses to admit it. On the other hand, they'd never been together while it was snowy before. She'd always been stuck in the hotel until it all melted away, and unable to reach Taco. After everything that had happened, they could finally just enjoy the snow together. Having made her decision, Mike reaches out her hand to shake the bed beside Taco, gently calling out her name. "Taco, wake up," she murmurs. "I've got something to show you. Taco." After a moment, she blearily opens her eyes, squinting as they adjust to the light. She sits up and rubs her eyes with her fists. "Mike? What's it?" she slurs, punctuating her sentence with a long yawn. She grabs Taco's hand, pulling her over to the other side of the bed. "You gotta come see it." The two make their way over to the window, Taco taking her time to wiggle out of bed and get up on her tippy toes to see outside, and Mike dramatically opens the curtains. "Ta-da! It snowed last night," she cheered, as she turned to gaze at the snow-covered ground. "And, we've never been together while it was snowing before. It's all been so crazy since the whole mess during the finale, nearly getting wiped out of existence and all that. But now that the mansion's built, it really feels like it's all started to settle down. Things are normal again. I mean, I guess they weren't normal for us before, but, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm happy with how everything's turned out. How things have turned out for us. Aren't you, Where did you go?" Mike blinks in confusion, scanning around the room to see no sign of Taco anywhere. She checks under the covers, in the closet, under the bed, but to no avail. Taco is just gone. Which, admittedly, isn't too out of the ordinary for her, but normally she at least has the decency to tell Mike she's going, rather than just ditching her. And in the middle of her talking, too. Ouch. She wanders out into the hallway, gazing back and forth in hopes of seeing any sign of Taco, but only finds a discarded candy wrapper that would annoy Soap to pieces if she saw it. Grabbing it as she walks by, Mike resigns herself to searching for Taco rather than enjoying the sight of the snow. Sighing, she silently hopes it doesn't take her too long to track her down. She knows all of her normal hiding places. How long can it take? For her sake, she hoped it would be long enough for the hurt of being walked out on to dull. "Do you need some help?" Goo asks again, hoping in vain to get an answer. If whoever is in there is crying so hard that they can't reply to him, then they must need help, whether it was feeling better or getting out of the dark, scary vents. And as a founding member of the Cheer Factory, it is his sworn duty to bring cheer to any sad object he comes across. Goo steels himself, letting out a strong breath, and squishes himself through the vent cover. Guided by the faint streaks of light coming through from behind, he slithers closer and closer to the sound of sobbing until he turns the corner and sees a small figure shivering before him. "Taco?" he questions, squinting to get a better view of the object before him. They are distinctly taco-shaped, but from what Goo has heard, She's more the type to make someone cry rather than cry herself. But an object of need and cheer is an object in need of cheer. Goo puts on his best smile, clears his throat, and cranks the joy meter up to 10.
Hello there, Taco. Are you ready to smile?
Taco doesn't answer him, nor does she look at him, or acknowledge his presence at all. Maybe she doesn't feel like smiling right now. That's okay, he can work with that.
You don't have to smile if you don't want to.
He scoots closer, changing up his approach.
You can just listen. If crying is making you feel better, you can keep crying too.
Still nothing. Having gotten closer to her, though, Goo notices how jittery she is. He hasn't seen anyone shake so hard since they'd pulled Silver Spoon out of the mile-high pie, and even then, Silver had opted to lay himself out in the sun once he'd cleaned off, rather than curl himself into a ball like Taco is. Maybe he should try calming her down before he makes her laugh. Goo closes the rest of the distance between them, lightly squishing himself against Taco's side, where he could see a sliver of her arm tucked into her lettuce.
When I feel like everything is all scary and big, it usually helps me to take some nice big breaths. It's like I'm breathing in all the nice feelings and breathing out all the bad ones. Do you want to take some together?
Taco still doesn't respond, but he'll just take that as a yes. Goo takes in the biggest breath he can, inflating himself to help show her what to do, and slowly shrinks back as he lets all the air out. He breathes in, he breathes out. He breathes in, he breathes out. In and out, letting any tension leave his gelatinous little body as he does. He certainly feels calmer than before, but Taco's breathing is still choked and shallow. Her eyes are still pinched shut. But Goo is anything but a quitter. He is a professional and will make Taco feel better. All he has to do is get her attention first. No problem. Taco's not under the bathroom sink. She's not in any of the linen closets. She's not in the attic. She's not in Meepad's shrine. She's not under the stairs. She's not under the other bathroom sink. She's not in any of her usual hiding places, nor has Mike got any sign of where else she might have gone. Mike circles around into the kitchen, greeting Soap, who's cleaning the oven so thoroughly she's gotten herself most of the way inside. Mike flops down onto the closest chair, resting her head face down on the table and groaning. "Rough morning?" Soap asks. "Taco walked out on me," Mike grumbles. "I turned away for a second and she was just gone. I haven't even finished what I was saying." Soap pokes her head out of the oven, turning to Mike. "Did you guys have a fight? I thought things were going really well after you two talked things out." "They are. At least I thought they were. We weren't arguing. I was just talking about the snow and how things have been, and she just, poof, gone. She didn't even tell me she was leaving." Mike frowns. Soap furrows her brows. "She usually tells you, right?" "Yeah," she gripes. "She always tells me she's heading off, or at least that she needs some time to herself. I was telling her that I'm really happy with how things are between us. If that scared her off, or if she's not happy." Mike trails off, hugging herself as she stares down at the ground. Soap puts her cleaning rag to the side, taking off her gloves and brushing her hands off on her apron as she closes the distance between them. She gently places a hand on each of Mike's shoulders and bends down to look into her eyes. "Hey," she soothes. "This is Taco we're talking about here. I haven't known her for as long as you have, but I can tell how important you are to her. Don't jump to conclusions before you get a chance to talk to her about all this. Who knows? Maybe she went off to try and get you flowers or something." Mike chuckles, lifting her head. "It's the middle of winter. There aren't any flowers growing right now." "Well, that would explain why she hasn't come back yet." Soap grins, pulling Mike up. "Why don't I help you look for her? Have you checked wherever she usually hides?" Mike nods. "Unless there's another spot I don't know about, I think so." "How about we go room by room then? If we check everywhere, we're bound to find her eventually. Or it'll just take long enough that she'll come out on her own," Soap suggests. "Yeah, that sounds like a good plan." Mike smiles. "Thanks, Soap." "Don't mention it," she replies, taking off her cleaning gear and getting ready to search.
Taco!
Goose sings songs.
Hello? Is anyone home? If we talk a little bit, I can help you feel better. Do you want to tell me what's wrong?
She still doesn't say anything, or look at him, or seem to notice him whatsoever. Maybe talking to her isn't the best way to get her attention, but how else could he get her to react? A smile grows on his face as he realizes the perfect solution. What better way to grab her attention and bring her joy than a classic silly dance? He can't quite do most dances without any limbs to dance with, but that just makes his boogieing all the sillier. He squiggles back, making proper space for himself to get down.
Hey Taco, watch! I am about to do the silliest, goofiest, most fantastic dance ever performed in the whole world! It'll make you laugh so hard, you'll forget why you're even sad in the first place.
And perform he does. Goo jiggles, wiggles, shimmies and squiggles like no object has before. His tuneless humming coincides perfectly with his gelatinous gesturing, almost making something that vaguely resembles music. He is elegance, he is grace, and most importantly, he is goofy. Each sticky little dance step is done so that it wobbles his semi-liquid self in a manner at which any object would be compelled, dragooned into cracking a smile. No living creature could resist the urge to laugh when laying their eyes upon Goo's spectacularly silly dance. Unfortunately, Taco had not laid her eyes on the dance. They remained squeezed shut, overflowing with tears, and partially buried in her knees. Goo sinks down into a puddle, taking a breather after his unsuccessful dance. So a boogie wasn't enough to get Taco to grin, or even get her to notice him. Unusual, with his dance working on most of his cheer clients, but not a problem. He still has more cards to play. Having found no success in the kitchen or dining room, Mike and Soap move to try their luck in the foyer. They rummage through the coat closet, check under the bench, and even peer under the carpet just in case. Normally, Taco's small size is one of Mike's favorite things about her. She's just so little and huggable. But, unfortunately, she's also lithe and hideable, meaning she could be just about anywhere. No sign of her here, Soap says, ducking out from under the stairwell. Do you think we should try another room? Mike sighs and nods. Maybe the living room? Seems like there'd be plenty of hiding spots in there. As the two are about to head out, a cold wind blows through them as the front doors are pushed open by Yin Yang, who holds them open to let Cabby through behind them. Oh, hey there, Cabby greets, noticing the pair standing in the entryway before Yin Yang. Hi guys, are you all having fun out there? Soap asks, as Mike waves in lieu of a greeting. Yes, we've been having a big snowball fight. I've hit that spoon in the face 4 times. Yang cheers, obviously proud of himself. Cabby wheels up next to him. And some of us have been working on building the most stable igloo possible. It's been going quite well, if I do say so myself. Are you two going to be joining us anytime soon? We're a bit tied up at the moment, Mike grimaces. And I can't risk getting wet, especially now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boats and neithers, Goo announces. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Goo's Giggles, a comedy show done only for the most exclusive customers of the Cheer Factory, hosted by yours truly. Now, Miss Taco, are you ready to laugh?
Taco doesn't respond, which Goo expected, so he continues on with his show.
Okay. Why couldn't the pony sing in the choir? Because he was a little hoarse.
Goo grins, looking at Taco to see if his admittedly hilarious joke had gotten a reaction out of her. But no dice. On to the next one.
How can you tell when a clock is hungry? It goes back 4 seconds.
Nothing.
Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory? Debris went everywhere.
No good.
Why did the Scarecrow get an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
Still no change.
What do you call a blizzard that tells jokes? A snow stopper.
Taco starts to sob again, The exact opposite of the reaction Goo wanted. He shuffles over to her, whispering reassurances to try and soothe her, only for things to grow worse. She shivers violently, pressing her legs painfully against her shell as her teeth chatter and tears flow from her eyes. Her breathing speeds up to a rapid pace, fast enough that Goo can't be sure whether she's actually getting any oxygen or not, until he hears her trembling voice for the first time since he'd found her. She mutters, the rattling of her teeth splitting up her words. Goo perks up, nudging her.
What'd you say? I can't understand you. What's wrong?
She hiccups.
So cold. Cold? Goo says. You're cold? That's okay. You don't have to be sad. I can help warm you up. You'll be all right. Let me just...
He furrows his brow, considering what he can do to make things warmer. He can't set a fire in the vents, nor can he set her up with a warm bath. His big cozy scarf got deleted with everything else Me-Life had made. Oh, a blanket! That'll warm her right up, all nice and snugly.
I'll get a blanket for you. Stay right here. Your knight in gooey armor will be right back.
He races off back through the vents, as fast as his slimy little body lets him go, and squishes himself back through the vent cover. Back in his room, he scurries back onto Bots in his bed and begins haphazardly pushing his pens and pencils onto the floor. He can fix them up later, but for now he has to hurry. He's finally making progress in helping Taco. There's no time to slow down now. Having sufficiently cleaned off his bed, Goo bites down on the corner of his comforter and yanks it towards the vent. He can squeeze himself through quite easily, but the blanket is another story. A small sliver of the corner made its way through, but beyond that, it remains draped across his bedroom floor. But Goo will be helping Taco feel better, meaning he will be getting this blanket to her. He chomps down on the corner and pulls with all his might. He tugs and tugs, slowly inching the blanket through the vent cover until it slips out of his mouth. Goo pauses, panting from exertion, but staring at the blanket with fierce determination. He sinks his teeth into the fabric once more and yanks at it, over and over again. He pulls harder and harder, exerting as much force as possible without the comforter moving even an inch, until he hears a few sudden, sharp snaps and lurches forward, the blanket trailing him without resistance. Unsure of why his comforter suddenly decided to cooperate, but very pleased with the development, Goo adjusts the blanket in his mouth and trudges back through the vents. Mike's face falls as Tabby and Yin Yang both return, having found no sign of Taco. She dives into the couch, burying her windscreen in the cushions to muffle her volume, and lets out a loud groan. She doesn't get it. How many places are even left to look? Mike swallows and takes a breath as she pulls her head out of the couch. She's starting to get a very bad feeling about this. You're both sure you didn't see anything out of the ordinary? Soap asks. I found 29 cents under OJ's bed, Yang starts, but someone wouldn't let me keep it. Yin raises his eyebrow in response. It was in his room. We can't just steal it. Finders keepers, losers weepers, Yang argues. Cabby wheels further into the room, interrupting their bickering. I did notice that a few of the grills on the vent in my room are broken, but they might have been like that before. And there were a few places I couldn't check. The beds are too low down for me to see under, and some of the rooms were locked. I guess we can try looking under the beds. I'm not sure how many places there are left to search, Mike sighs. Well, we haven't lived here very long, Soap says, putting a hand on Mike's shoulder. Even if we helped rebuild, there might still be some nooks and crannies we don't know about yet. Why don't we see if Bo or Doe would mind helping us look? And Taco's been chatting with Marsh lately, hasn't she? We can ask her too. You're right. Sounds like a good idea. Mike gives a small smile, turning to face Cabby and Yin Yang. Are they outside with everyone else? Yin nods. They're making snow angels, I think. Do you want us to go get them? If you wouldn't mind, Soap answers. I mind, Yang grumbles. I want to go back to the snowball fight. Oh, hush. Think of all the Dr. Fizz you'll drink tonight, Yin pacifies. Yang grumps as they walk away, but still goes willingly. I can show you to the places I couldn't look while we wait for him if you'd like.
So no one wastes time searching in places I already tried, Cabby suggests.
Sounds like a plan, Mike agrees, as she and Soap follow Cabby back into the hallway.
Hurry up, Tucker!
Goo chirps, spitting out the blanket.
This'll warm you right up and chase the sods away.
He wiggles himself under the blanket, pushing it forward with him until he bumps into Taco's side and scooches it around her to get her as bundled up as possible. The inside of a vent isn't an ideal place to get cuddled up, but if Taco felt better being in the vent, then that's where they'll stay. After he gets the comforter wrapped around Taco sufficiently, Goo ducks underneath to join her in being as comfy and warm as possible.
Hooray!
He cheers at a job well done. Now that she can warm up, she'll be smiling in no time. He can count this as yet another win for the A whimper. Oh, beans. Taco had taken her arms out of her shell and shoved them over the approximate location of her ears, tightly clenching her teeth. Her trembling resumes as well, the blanket ruffling with each shake.
Oh, no, Taco, it's okay.
Goo whispers hurriedly.
I'm sorry for being loud. I'll be quieter. You're safe. You're okay.
He watches with guilt as she cries, her hands still pressed down on her shell. He was so close. He'd gotten a blanket to warm her up, but now he'd made her upset again. He wanted to make her smile, not scared. Oh, how can he pick this back up again?
You know,
Goo begins.
This reminds me of an episode of My Little Pony I watched the other day. Do you want to hear about it? I'll keep whispering.
Taco doesn't answer, but she does start to inch her arms back into her shell, which he'll take as a yes. Goo takes a deep breath.
So, in the episode, Rarity has a headache because Static Glimmer had used a bunch of spells on the main sick. Well, get it? It's mane like a horse's hair. I really like that they're called that. Oh, and Pinkie Pie, she's my favorite pony, yelled really loud, and Rarity didn't like that either, just like you. Then Starlight Glimmer came to apologize for using magic on them without asking, and...
He stops, mouth falling slack in realization.
Oh, I'm sorry, Taco. You've never seen My Little Pony, have you? You don't know who I'm talking about. Don't worry, I'll explain it to you.
Goose settles himself next to Taco and clears his throat. This will take a while. Yin Yang trudges back through the snow, trying to put their feet into the holes left from before. It takes them a long moment to spot the longer-term residents of the mansion, but they eventually spot the group standing and floating near the far edge of the parameters. Marshmallow and Apple are both lying on the ground, still making snow angels, while Bo and Doe, along with Suitcase, are seemingly helping Knife as he strains to keep his hold on a small snowball. They take one careful step, then another, then another. Then Yin's leg tweaks and they fall flat on their face. Yin Yang spits out the snow that had gotten in their mouth and keeps stomping along with noticeably less enthusiasm. One stomp, then another, then another. Then they trip on a stick that was hidden under the snow, and once again faceplant into the powder. They wipe off their face, and Yang storms along the rest of the way, sitting them down once they arrive to avoid any more mishaps. Mike needs help, Yin pants, trying to catch his breath. On it, Knife nods, floating himself back towards the mansion as fast as he could make himself go. Yang frowns as he watches him get further and further away. We weren't done. Is everything all right? Suitcase asks, concern laced into her voice. Mike didn't get wet, did she? Yin shakes their head. No, but she can't find Taco. He's getting worried, so we're trying to help Mike find her. We thought some of you might be able to help, since you lived in the mansion longer. I guess we can help look or whatever, but is it, that big a deal? That girl vanishes, every week, Bo wonders aloud. Something's different this time, Yin shrugs. At least Mike thinks so. Apple smiles, grabbing Marshmallow's hand. Well, of course we can help then. Let's go, Marcy. She's pulled away by Apple, and the ghosts moving to follow them, while Suitcase stays by Yin Yang's side. Do you think more objects looking would help? She asks. I'm sure Balloon will help us out, and most of the others probably won't mind lending a hand. Yin nods, standing up to follow her over to the aforementioned balloon. Yang thinks about going back and hitting Silver Spoon with a fifth snowball to the face.
So in this one, Applejack goes off to try and win a whole lot of prize money from rodeos to help Ponyville repair City Hall, but then she doesn't come back. She sends a letter that says she isn't going to return to Ponyville. And everyone is so sad because they miss her and want her back. So her friends go to look for her, and when they find her, she's working on a cherry farm because the owner of the cherry farm saw her at the rodeo winning a whole bunch of ribbons and then recruited her.
Goo pauses to take a breath.
But when they talk to Applejack, they think she isn't telling them something because she isn't telling them something. So they go to work at the cherry farm too to try and figure out what's really going on. But when they try to figure it out, Applejack gets upset and runs so fast that there's a cherry explosion! And then she storms off. And then some Pinkie Pies are trying home. And she's talking about chimichurries and chimichangas and kumquats and pickleberries, so Applejack says she'll tell them. She pinky promises. A pinky promise is a super duper important promise that Pinkie Pie and her friends make. It goes, cross my heart and hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye.
He recites, mimicking the action the best he can without any limbs.
But then Applejack tries to run away instead because she doesn't want to keep her pinky promise to tell the truth. But Pinkie gets really mad because she takes pinky promises very seriously. So they all try to chase after Applejack. And they're racing carriages, and Pinkie and Rarity fall off. And Applejack has her carriage go in front of a train, and they just make it safely. She thinks she got away. But Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash can fly because they're Pegasus ponies, so they just jump over the train like whoosh!
He does a slight hop, being very into the story.
And then Rainbow Dash tackles Applejack, and all her ribbons fall out of her bag. She gets sad because ribbons, but none of them are first place ribbons, so she didn't get any money. So now she doesn't want to go back to her family and her farm and her friends because she thinks she disappointed them and that they'll all be mad at her if she comes home with no money. But her friends don't care about any prize money. They just want their friend Applejack back home with them. So Applejack goes home and everyone is very happy to see her, money or no money. And then in the next episode...
By the time Suitcase and Yin Yang have returned, with nearly all their fellow former castmates accompanying them, Mike has paced around the foyer so many times that even she's surprised she hasn't put a dent in the floor. The residents of the previous mansion already set out to check the spots they'd come to know from years spent there, and Cabby is currently helping to divide everyone into search teams. Mike would be more grateful for the support if she wasn't busy trying to keep at least a slight degree of calm. She'll have to thank them all later. Mike? Ben interrupts her thoughts, nervously approaching her. I'm all for finding Taco. We gotta look out for each other, of course. But, doesn't Taco go off on her own pretty often? Are you sure she's not just... Fan pauses when he looks up near Mike's eyes, noticing the death stare she's giving him. Yes, Fan. I'm sure, she chokes out as she resumes her pacing, stomping harder on the floor than she had been before. Test tube starts, coming closer to stand beside Fan. You're probably right. You definitely know better than we would when it comes to Taco. But are you certain she's even in the mansion? If you couldn't hear her with your gain all the way up, she might have got off into the forest again. Mike pauses in her tracks, jaw hanging open. She whacks her palm against her face a few times and groans. I completely forgot, Mike wails, hurriedly reaching for her gain knob and holding out her palm at the mob of objects beside her. Everyone be quiet for a sec. I'm going to try and listen out for Taco. The room goes silent as Mike carefully twists the knob on her back, and the world gets louder around her. The slight creak of the floorboards, the dull hum of electricity, water running through the pipes. A pair of footsteps, one too heavy to be Taco, and the other too slow. Martian Apple out searching then. A voice, too deep, and without a British accent. Doe chatting with himself as he seeks. Another voice catches her attention, this one high-pitched, fast, and less familiar to her. She slowly turns up her gain, keying in on the voice, only to hear an enthusiastically detailed, unhelpful depiction of an episode of My Little Pony? That must be Goo then. Mike bites her lip, trying to twist her gain knob past its normal limit, but to no avail. There's no rustling of lettuce, no sipping of tea, and no sign of Taco. She sighs, winding her knob back to its usual setting and turning back towards the others. I can't hear her at all, she mumbles, nausea seeping its way into her stomach. All I got was goo raving about My Little Pony. At least someone's having a good time, OJ gripes, gesturing towards the diagram that Cabby had drawn up. I guess that means we keep going with the plan. Everyone murmurs in agreement and split off into pairs to search their designated locations. So puts a warm hand on Mike's back and starts steering her towards her room. We're gonna find her, Mike, she reassures. It's gonna be okay.
And then Pinkie Pie learns that even if she isn't the only party pony, her friends still love and appreciate her. And when she works together with another talented party planner, they can make an even better party.
Goo finishes, panting. He isn't sure how long he and Taco have been hanging out in the vents, but he's been telling her about My Little Pony for long enough that his mouth is drier than a coloring book that's all lines. He absolutely must quench his thirst right this moment. Looking over at Taco, Goo frowns slightly. She isn't crying anymore, but she's still all curled up and sad-looking. Maybe she's still cold? But what can he do to get her even warmer? A grin grows on his goopy face as the perfect idea comes to him. Hot chocolate! A splendiferously yummy drink for him, and something oh so warm for Taco.
Hey, Taco, do you want any hot chocolate?
Goo asks, giving her a small nudge. Taco doesn't answer him. Goo is undeterred and continues.
I'm really thirsty after talking so much, and it'll be nice and warm for you. You'll love it. And if you don't, that's okay too. I can drink it if you don't want it. So I'll go get us some hot chocolate and be back really super quick, okay?
He scurries his way out of the vents, emerging with a quiet squelch. Goo would be the first object to admit that he isn't great at cooking, much less making hot chocolate. Or handling utensils in general. It's not easy to handle things when you don't have many hands to begin with. But as his favorite ponies have taught him, you can always rely on a friend for help. Pushing open the door out to the hallway, he considers who he should ask. Tiketa likes making snacks for everyone, but she never lets him have marshmallows because he eats enough sugar already, which he vehemently disagrees with. He could ask Cabby to make it for him, but she always gets hung up on measuring the perfect cocoa powder to milk ratio, and he doesn't want to stress her out. Balloon might be able to help him, but the last time he saw Balloon help prepare food, he put flowers in it. Goo much prefers to smell flowers rather than eat them. Maybe he could ask,
Paint it!
Goo calls out, seeing his friend down the hallway and squiggling towards them. The aforementioned friend jumps slightly before turning to Goo and flashing him a quick smile. As he approaches, Paintbrush kneels closer down to his height, kind enough to not make Goo move his face onto the top of his head just to look at them. Hey, buddy, they begin, making Goo smile in response. You having a good day? Goo nods furiously, before settling into a determined expression.
But now I need help with something super important.
Paintbrush furrows their brow. Is everything okay? What's going on?
I am incredibly thirsty and need 2 cups of hot chocolate,
Goo declares, trying to emphasize the seriousness of his mission. Ah, Paintbrush says, the concern fading from their features. Now isn't a great time. We're kind of in the middle of something. They look back towards Lightbulb, who waves. He knows what he must do now. Pulling out his best pair of puppy dog eyes, Goo gives Paintbrush a look that would send a weaker object to the hospital due to an intense blood sugar spike.
Please,
Goo pleads. Paintbrush averts their eyes in a feeble attempt to resist Goo's cuteness. Lightbulb, however, is not lucky enough to do so in time. Don't worry, Painty. You go get that goober a drink. I got this, she chirps, punctuating her sentences with a pair of finger guns. They smile and nod, turning back towards Goo. You heard her. Let's go get you your hot chocolate. The pair make their way to the kitchen, with Paintbrush slowing down to accommodate Goo's pace, and greets Salt and Pepper, who are half-heartedly digging through the pantry. He gloops down on the floor and hums to himself as Painty begins to heat the milk. Oh, he hopes the hot chocolate will make Taco feel better. She seemed to like hearing about My Little Pony, since she'd stopped crying, so maybe a warm drink will help her cheer up even more. And then maybe he could dance for her again, or they could play a game, and she'll feel all better. Then they could pick out episodes to watch together, and Taco could pick out her favorite pony, And then they could draw the ponies with Bot, and then he can read her his fan fiction about Pinkie Pie throwing him a... Goo. Hey, Goo, Paintbrush says, interrupting his thoughts. How many marshmallows do you want in your hot chocolates?
10 in one of them, and...
He doesn't know if Taco likes marshmallows or not. He should have tried to ask her before he left the vents. Well, she has 3 tomato slices in her, so maybe she likes the number 3. And if she doesn't like marshmallows, 3 aren't too many to take out. He'd be happy to eat them if she doesn't want to. Goo grins up at them.
3 in the other, please.
Paintbrush gives him a nod, drops 10 and 3 marshmallows in the respective cups, and secures the lids. Goo moves forward and tilts his head up, to which they respond by gently depositing the 2 cups inside of him. No arms, no problem. His gelatinous body is excellent for securing precious cargo. Enjoy, Goo, Paintbrush tells him, and be careful not to spill them.
Thank you, I will,
he sing-songs, sliding off back to his room, excited to share a yummy treat with Taco. Mike, Soap says, gritting her teeth as she uses all her strength to hold Mike back from the front doors. You can't go out there. You'll get wet. Mike manages a step forward, only to be pulled back by Soap yet again. But she has to be out there, Mike pleads. I couldn't hear her at all, and no one could find her in the mansion, even with everyone looking. She must be outside somewhere. It's already getting dark. We have no idea where on the island she'd go, and most importantly, you can't risk getting wet, Soap argues. Something's wrong, though. I can't just sit around the mansion if she's not here. What if she needs help? Mike growls, trying to push Soap off of her. Baseball steps forward from the rest of the group, who had come back together after an hour of skimming through their areas. Here, Mike, the snow is too dangerous for you, he starts, getting another growl from her in response. But I'm waterproof, and I'm not the only one either. Some of us can go out and look for Taco, okay? Before Mike could give a reluctant yes, since she knows trying to outstubborn Soap is a losing battle, Knife floats down and cuts her off. Absolutely not, he rejects. No one is going out there. It's too dangerous for anyone to be wandering around at night. Mike scoffs. That's exactly why we need to find her. If she's out there all alone, she could be in serious danger. I'm telling you, something's really wrong. I'm sure of it. I agree with you, Mike. I've been paying attention. She isn't usually gone as long as you say she's been. But heading out into the snow-covered woods in the dark is just gonna get someone killed, Knife argues back, gesturing harshly. And what if it's Taco that dies because you want to just leave her out there? Mike yells back at him. We don't even know for sure if she is out there, Mike. And it's not worth risking anyone's life for, he challenges. And even if she is, she lived out in those woods for years. If there's any one of us who could actually survive out there, it's her. There's no recovery for any of us anymore. We can't just have objects start sacrificing themselves to the elements because Taco might be out there. Rage boils through Mike, tearing through her stomach and burning up her throat. Oh, what? So she's not important enough to go find? She's not worth it? I can't believe you. Just because you're dead doesn't mean she should be. Mike regrets it the very instant it leaves her mouth. Her burning anger leaves her, only the guilty ashes left heavy in her stomach. Knife's expression wilts before he quickly tries to mask it. The room has gone silent. No one moves. Soap slowly releases the tight hold she'd had on Mike, who brings her hands up to cover her mouth as tears well up in her eyes. I'm sorry, she chokes out through the lump in her throat. I'm so sorry, Knife. I didn't mean... A sob forces its way out of her, and she moves her hands up to uselessly scrub at her eyes. Soap reaches out a hand to comfort Mike, but she shrugs it off and turns away. I'm sorry, I need a minute. She hiccups, quickly retreating out of the foyer and into her and Taco's room, slamming the door behind her. Goo lets out a happy sigh as he licks the last of his hot chocolate off his lips. That was the best hot chocolate he's had in his entire life. Some of Painty's best work, and definitely made with extra love. Simply scrumptious.
What do you think, Taco? Do you like it?
He asks, turning towards her. While she doesn't seem to have actually had any, she has brought the cup between her legs, curling around the cup to take in its warmth. So she does like cuddles. Perfect, Goo grins, wriggling himself through the blankets until he's side to side with Taco.
Hooray!
Goo whispers, much quieter this time.
Good job, Taco. You'll be feeling better in no time.
Nuzzling into her for optimal cuddling, he lets out a large yawn. He has been working awfully hard today, and the hot chocolate was so warm. Taco seems content to cuddle, and he's so very cozy. It wouldn't hurt to shut his eyes, just for a moment. Mike doesn't know how long she's been sobbing into her pillow when she hears a gentle knock on the door. She ignores it in favor of shoving her face down harder, but hears the door click open anyway. Soft footsteps pad forward, and the bed squeaks as someone sits down next to Mike, and a gentle, kind hand comes to rest on her back. Hey, Soap says delicately, as though Mike hadn't done anything but pull her around all day. How are you holding up? Mike whines into her pillow in lieu of a response, and Soap starts to gently stroke her back. Pepper and Tea Kettle want to start on dinner if you're getting hungry. The others are starting up the search again after we eat. They've switched up their search areas so they can look with fresh eyes. Soap hesitates. The ghosts went outside to check for any sign of her within the parameters, knife included. Mike jerks her head up off her pillow. He did? But I told him. I know. Soap moves her hand down to hold Mike's and gives it a squeeze. You've been having a really tough day, and even if you, said something you really shouldn't have, that doesn't mean he doesn't still want to help you. We all do. We'll figure this out. Mike sits up, tears filling her eyes again despite her best efforts. Soap opens up her arms for a hug, and Mike dives right in, her body sagging as the tension melts out of her. Thanks, Soap, Mike breathes out after a few moments of silent comfort. Soap grins at her. Anytime. I'm always here for you. And besides, I have to be there when we find Taco so I can let her know what a mess she made. I swear, she's going to be on bathroom duty for the next year for making you feel like this. She can barely reach the sink, Mike chuckles, much less clean it. As the two laugh together, a spectral face peeks itself through the wall. Knife softens at seeing Mike having regained some of her normal energy, not that he'd ever admit it, and floats down to her eye level. Hey, Mike, he starts awkwardly, fiddling with his hands. You, feeling better? Mike gasps at his sudden appearance. Knife, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that at all, and I should never have said it, and I shouldn't have taken my feelings out on you, and I'm really, really sorry. It's okay, Mike. I'm not mad at you. I mean, I'd rather you not say something like that again, but you're really worried about Taco. I get it. I'm sorry, too. I probably could have been calmer. No, she shakes her head. Don't worry about it. You were just trying to keep everyone safe. I'm sorry I got so angry at you for doing that. Knife huffs. Let's just say we're both sorry and call it even, okay? Mike lets out a soft breath. We're even then. Now, Knife starts with a much lighter tone. What was that I heard about putting Taco on bathroom duty? Goo wakes up to the dull hum of the vents gently pulling him from his slumber. Popping up from his sleepy puddle shape and back into his preferred glob, he wiggles himself around until he feels sufficiently stretched out and looks to his companion. Taco doesn't look much different than when she had when he'd fallen asleep, save for one of her legs being sprawled out in front of her rather than squeezed against her shell. Now that's what he'd call progress.
Good morning,
he chirps at her.
How are you feeling?
She looks at him, and gives a shrug so small he can barely see it.
Oh, that's okay,
Goo says, excitement at her having given him a response leaking into his tone.
I'm still here to bring on the cheer, and now you can tell me what will make you feel better. We can keep snuggling, I can get you a snack, I can do a little silly dance, I can find you a stuffy.
As soon as he mentions stuffed animals, she perks up and shifts her arms around to rustle through her shell and a quick moment later pulls out the mini knee pad that Suitcase had gotten for her. She squeezes the plushie against her face, taking a deep breath against it. Goo leans over to get a better look at the stuffed object.
You only have your knee pad. I didn't really get to meet him for very long, but I heard he was really nice.
Taco nods, keeping her face buried in the plushie.
Oh, I have an idea. How about I go get my bot stuffy? I can bring them in here, and then our stuffy friends can be friends just like us. Would you like that?
He joyfully suggests. She freezes, slowly moving the plushie off her face to stare at Goo with wide eyes. And stare. And stare. And stare. Tears well up in her eyes once more. Seeing this, he immediately tries to soothe her.
No. We don't have to do that. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm sorry.
Taco rubs her palms against her eyes, scrubbing the tears away. Sniffling, she holds up her plushie and gives 3 curt nods.
So you do want to have our stuffies be friends?
Goo confirms, with her nodding harder in response.
Hooray! Okay, I'll go get my bot, and while I'm doing that...
He pauses, moving to absorb both the hot chocolate cups and his goo.
I'll take these back to the kitchen. Be back soon,
he calls, voice echoing through the vents. A savory aroma guides soap, Mike, and Knife into the kitchen. After having taken a moment to breathe, Mike realizes how hungry she is. That's what she gets for not stopping to eat all day. Welcome back, Mike, Suitcase greets, gesturing towards the dining table. We're picking out where we'll search after dinner, and we're looking over a map of the island in case we need to keep searching once the sun comes up. You and Tucker used to meet up in the woods, right? Do you want to mark those spots down so we can check there? Mike nods, taking a seat in front of the map and racking her brain. Taco probably has some forest hideaway she doesn't know about, but she can at least give everyone a general search area to cover. She gets so engrossed in her task that she barely notices when Paper and OJ start dishing out the food for everyone, but she snaps out of her fervor once the scent hits her and begins to scarf down her meal.
Hello, every pony!
Goo chirps, squiggling into the room with 2 empty cups in his head and a big smile on his face. Hey, Goo, OJ replies, stepping over him to deliver more plates. You want us to fix you some too? Goo climbs up onto the kitchen counter, depositing the cups, and shakes his head.
Can I have it later, please? I'm busy now.
We can leave some out for you, OJ agrees, but you'll probably have to eat on your own. We're all going to keep searching after dinner.
Searching? Searching for what?
Mike looks up from the makeshift map to answer him. We're looking for Taco. She went missing this morning, and no one's seen her since. We've searched the mansion up and down, so we're starting to think she might not be in here.
What do you mean missing?
Goo blinks innocently.
Taco and I have been hanging out all day.
For a beat, there is silence, as everyone stares incredulously at him. And then, there is pandemonium. A cacophony of voices descend on Goo, a variety of wheres, whys, and hows, hitting him all at once, and after just a moment, he has had enough.
Why are you all yelling?
He cries out, silencing the crowd. Goo. Mike walks up to him, lifting his gelatinous little body into her arms and holding him at eye level. Goo.
Yes?
He whimpers. Mike stares directly into his eyes. You've been with Taco all day. You've known where she's been the entire day.
Well, yeah,
he squeaks.
I didn't know you were looking for her. I'm sorry.
She sighs and places him down on the counter. If you didn't know, it's not your fault. We searched everywhere. I searched your and my room personally. Where have you two been?
In the vents,
he tells her with a nervous smile. Mike doesn't know what to think. Taco has been in the vents all day? The vents? Maybe she's never actually woken up. Maybe she's in the middle of a very stressful, very bad dream. Maybe this was Taco's attempt at a joke, and she'd have to put Taco through 100 more empathy exercises. No, 1,000. Why the vents? Soap asks, hopefully taking over for the bewildered Mike. Goo jiggles in an attempt at a shrug.
I don't know. That's just where she was. She doesn't seem to want to leave, so I'm hanging out there with her.
She didn't say why? Soap furrows her brows.
No.
He shakes himself back and forth.
She hasn't really felt like talking today, but she did look at me before I came out to put our cups away. Oh, I'm to go get my pop plushie. I should go do that.
Wait. Mike stops him. She hasn't said anything all day? Was she not looking at you before?
No. She was staring at the ground while she was crying earlier. She kept her eyes closed for a while, too. But I think she's starting to feel better. She even nodded at me.
Goo explains. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like Taco. That sounds like the bad feeling Mike had before is about to be proved right. Maybe it would help if someone else went with you to check on her? The more the merrier, right? And it might be best to get her out of the vents. I doubt it's very nice in there. Soap suggests delicately.
Oh, okay.
Goo agrees.
It's a little small, though. It'll be really hard for most of you to get in, since you can't all squish like me.
The group ponders this. Whoever went in with Goo would have to be small enough to get to Taco in the first place, which already rules most of them out. Someone Taco is already familiar with might be a better bet as well. Slowly, and for some, reluctantly, eyes start to turn towards Nickel. Absolutely not, he says firmly. Why are any of you looking at me? I am the last person who should go help with feelings. Baseball winces. Dude, Bo is still outside, so it's either you or Blueberry. Do you think Blueberry would do a better job? Oh, no, Nickel moans, cringing at the thought and resigning himself to his fate. He, along with Goo, Soap, Mike, and Cabby, all head through the foyer and down the hall, back into Goo's room. Goo curls up on his, oddly enough, blanketless bed, and drags his bot plushie with him. You're bringing that with us? Nickel asks. Goo nods.
I told Taco I would. Our plushies are gonna be friends.
Nickel decides to just roll with it. All right, guys, Mike starts, grabbing their attention. Please make sure Taco gets back out here, okay? As soon as you can. On it, Nickel responds, giving a small salute as Goose squishes himself into the vents. Mike frowns slightly as she watches them go, sitting down on Goo's mattress as she resigns herself to waiting. Taco is nearly within her grasp. All she has to do, and all she can do, is wait.
Taco!
Goose sings, still keeping his voice low.
I'm back, and I want little old Nickel with me.
She looks up, eyes widening a tad in surprise at the new arrival, and gives a small nod. A nod! She's still feeling up to nodding. Goo happily snuggles back into Taco's side, and Nickel sits himself down beside him.
So, Taco, this is Bot Jr.,
Goo introduces his beloved Stuffy.
They are very creative and very friendly, and they even glow in the dark. See?
He pushes the plush so close to Taco that it nearly falls on her, but it does get her a good view of the glowing circles on Bot Jr.'s sides. Without letting go of it, she holds her mini knee pad out closer to Goo in response, who wiggles Bot Jr. until they're doing something that somewhat resembles shaking their feet in greeting. Nickel purses his lips, feeling more and more claustrophobic the longer he sits around. So, Taco, we've all been looking for you for a bit. She blinks at him. He takes that as a signal to continue. Mike's been really worried about you today. Got everyone in on the search and everything. It got pretty heated at one point, even if it didn't last long. Taco frowns, turning her gaze towards the metal floor and holding Mini knee-pad close to her chest.
Oh,
Goo butts in.
It's okay, though. I don't think she's mad at you. She just missed you a whole lot.
Taco still looks guilty, and Nickel winces. Look, how about we all head back outside? You can see Mike, get some dinner, not be in the vents, and we'll all be... Taco? Her eyes go wide, flooding with tears, and her hold on Mini knee-pad turns into a death grip. She curls into herself as her shell bobs up and down, heaving with her uneven breaths. Shivers rattle through her and displace the blanket she'd been wrapped in. Taco squeezes her eyes shut and puts a hand on her shell, trying to block out her fright. Goo immediately squishes himself against her side to comfort her.
It's okay, Taco. You don't need to cry. You're safe.
She lets out a choked whine.
Everything's all right. I'm here. You don't need to worry. It's okay. You're okay.
Taco leans ever so slightly back into Goo, her breathing still quick and sharp.
Here, Taco, let's try some big breaths again, okay?
Goo offers.
We can do it together. When I breathe in, I'll make myself all big. And when I breathe out, I'll go back to being small, okay? And you can copy me, nice and easy.
Goo closes his eyes and inhales deeply. The slightly stale air fills him up, inflating him until he's pressed against the cool walls of the vent. He counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lets all the air out and counts back down. He breathes in, counts, breathes out. Breathes in, counts, breathes out. He peeks an eye open at one point to check on Taco, who's starting to match his pace, and notices that Nickel is nowhere to be found. He breathes in, counts, breathes out. He's probably gone back to report to Mike. Breathes in, counts, breathes out, meaning Goo and Taco can take all the time they need to breathe in, count, and breathe out. There's a clanging coming from the vents. A clanging! Someone's coming out. Taco is coming out! Mike is gonna wrap her in so many blankets, they're going to have to start calling her Burrito instead. The clanging is getting louder. She's getting closer. Closer. Almost out. It's Nickel. Alone. Just Nickel. No one else. Just Nickel. Aren't you supposed to be helping Goo get Taco out here? Mike asks impatiently. Nickel at least has the decency to look ashamed. I think he'll be better off without my help. I just made things worse. What happened? Soap asks, her voice laced with concern. Is she okay? He grimaces. Okay might be a bit of a stretch. I didn't get to interact with her much, but she didn't talk while I was in there. And I, definitely got her upset again. But Goo's handling it really well, actually. What did you do? Mike furrows her brow. You were only in there for 5 minutes. I just said we should head outside the vents. I didn't know it would scare her, Nickel explains. Outside the vents? Cabby interjects. Mike, you mentioned she ran off after you'd opened up the curtains, right? So it's probably something outside that's upsetting her. Mike gasps. Oh, do you think it's the snow? Cabby nods. It would make sense. There's nothing else out of the ordinary out there. And I woke her up just to look at it, Mike guiltily whispers. You didn't know, Soap interrupts before Mike can feel too bad. And now that we do, we can help her out. If it's the snow that's bugging her, why don't we make sure she can be nice and cozy when she's ready to join us again? Nickel raises an eyebrow. Do you have something in mind? I do, Mike smiles. Cabby, can you wait here for Taco and Goo to come out? Have them come into the foyer once they're ready. Of course, she nods. Mike gives her a grateful thumbs up. Perfect, let's go get ready for them then. She throws open the door and rushes through the hallway, feeling lighter than she has all day. They found Taco, and she's going to be okay. Taco's breathing had slowed down, with only the occasional tear falling. That was a close one. The last thing she needed was to get too scared to even look at him again. Goo can understand why she's afraid. He doesn't go outside when there's snow either, not when it can turn him into a goosicle. He doesn't think Taco could be frozen solid, like he could, but she probably has some other reason to be so terrified of the snow. Or she doesn't. Sometimes things are just scary, and that's okay. He still wants to help her in any way he can. If she doesn't want to go outside, he'll make sure she won't have to.
Hey, Taco, he starts. Do you want to come inside with me?
She snuffs, looking at him with a confused expression.
I mean, we're double inside right now, but if we go regular inside, we can get a lot warmer. It's all nice and warm and dry in there. We could have some more hot chocolate, or some of the tea you like, or some yummy food, or snuggly blankets, or even some more cuddle buddies. I'm sure Mike would really like to give you a cuddle. She's missed you a lot today.
Taco perks up at the mention of Mike, but still hesitantly keeps her gaze down towards the metal floor. She's afraid, but that's okay. With a sticky squelch, Goo reaches a makeshift hand out to her.
We can hold hands the whole time if you want. I promise it's safe. Let's go together.
She stares at him, scanning his expression before slowly reaching her trembling hand out towards his. She pauses a few times, nearly retreating her hand back to holding Mini Me-Pad, but eventually settles it on the hand he kept steadily outstretched for her. He envelops her hand in goo, as close to holding it as he can get, and starts gently leading her out of the vents. It's time to head inside. Taco blinks harshly as they step into Goo's bedroom, the light stinging her eyes after having hidden away for so long. She forces herself to take another deep breath as Goo talks to... She frowns. She knows who he's chatting with. They've met before. She'd won a season, had files on seemingly everyone and everything, and her name is... Before a name can come to mind, Goo jostles her arm with a gentle tug, guiding her towards the doorway. Out the door. Taco pinches her eyes shut, blocking out that train of thought. They're going inside. They're going inside. They're going inside. She tries to focus on the cool wooden floorboards, Goo's squishy little appendage, and the cuddly fabric of her Me-Pad plush. They're going inside. Goo stops crawling along, so she stops as well. Wherever he's brought her, it's so very warm. She peeks an eye open. The first thing she notices is the fire dancing in the middle of her vision. That's right. They have a fireplace. Her heart swells nearly enough to make her cry yet again. They have a fireplace. The second thing she notices is enough to make the tears fall. Mike kneels down in front of her, looking at Taco with more emotions than she could begin to comprehend at the moment. Mike says something Taco is too caught up in her own thoughts to hear, but the message is clear enough when she opens her arms. Though both her own arms are occupied, Taco still closes the small amount of space between them, and gently leans her shell against Mike's torso. Tender hands are placed on her back, and she feels safe. She doesn't know how long she and Mike stay like that. It feels like forever, but all too short at the same time, before Mike stands, keeping her hands on the back of Taco's shell, and lightly guides her towards the fire. She sits only a few feet away from it, close enough to get all of its warmth, but far enough that she isn't at risk of getting burnt. Mike sits down beside her, gently pulling Taco under her shoulder and wrapping a blanket around them. Goo releases Taco's hand as he moves to cuddle up against her other side, wiggling under the cover. Mini Me-Pad stays safely tucked into her elbow. Taco lets out a deep exhale, letting the tension melt out of her body. She's safe. She's inside. She's home.
Hi. Thank you for listening. If you've gotten this far, Chionophobia was fun to write and record like this. I'd like to say a quick apology to Australians, Italians, and Knife specifically for my attempts at those. I was really excited about doing this, and I wanted to do it before I was not excited, so I didn't have too much time to figure out everyone's voices. Might do so in the future, because it would probably be really fun, but I mainly focused on Goo, and just went for it. Because Goo is so fun. Oh my god, I love that little guy so much. He is so fun. His voice is fun. He's squishy. I cannot articulate properly how much I love Goo. So on that subject, we're going to do a little bonus round of me saying a bunch of things in the Goo voice because it's fun. Jazzy Oliver, if you see this, consider it my formal audition to voice Goo in Season 4. You would not have to pay me. I would pay you, because it's so fun to speak in his little voice. So here I have a couple things that I want Goo to say, a couple of my favorite lines of Goo's, and yeah, so without further ado. Great googly moogly! Screaming match! Is a chicken an animal or a bird? But do aliens believe in me? I can't take it! I'm a goofy goober. What can I say? I'm a sticky guy. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna goo it. I'm gooing out! This morning I woke up and I wanted to dance with pine cones. You can tell a lot by a woman's hands. For instance, she has hooves. Horse. another satisfied client at the Cheer Factory! Let's freaking go! Screech! So, I guess the Cheer Factory has become the Cheer LLC. Magic is real! It happens when you make your friends smile! But Candle, we haven't made a mile-high pie. We've made a 2-mile-high pie! Ah! Ah! Who did this to you? I thought medieval wrecks were outlawed. Okay, thank you for listening.